Okay. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Power of Words. We're having our very first talk on Journey Back to You group. Very, very excited to have the beautiful Andrea Mercer here with us today. Hi. So this is a recorded event, and, in the world of energy, it doesn't really matter when you watch it. Everything's still happening live in time. There is no time. So just firstly, if you've just come across this and you're not aware of who I am, I'm the owner of the Journey Back to You group. And it's basically a space where I have felt called to begin a collaboration along with an empowerment and motivational space where people can focus, learn, gain knowledge, everything about their self-healing journey and their journey really into themselves, which is what I believe the healing is. It's basically life now. That's just on all levels. So our very first guest is Andrea Mercer, as I mentioned, and she's a kinesiologist and is the founder of Harmony, Health and Happiness. Hi, Andrea.
Hello, and thank you. Thanks for having me on.
So great.
I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I have been doing neurolinguistic kinesiology for 3 or 4 years now, and kinesiology was something that my mum used to take us to as children, which I never really thought would come back up in my life, but as these things do from childhood, they all come back around. And it was a path that I was led down when I was doing a journey into myself 6 or so years ago. And with a history or a background of nursing in emergency, I realised that I could do more in a holistic way through kinesiology, and also with a bit of sound and energy healing thrown in there. And it's a wonderful soft, gentle modality that I suppose really harnesses the power of words in its whole entirety. So we start off a session always with an affirmation, a positive affirmation that we are aiming to get to by the end or after a few sessions. Wow. being that it does show you that how the body reacts to the power of words, and not just the spoken words. This is also the thought process that's going on, and embodying your truth and what you think and where you want to go and your path. So we work a lot with the power of words.
That sounds amazing. I think it's a lot more. I didn't actually realize that about kinesiology. The affirmation. I know personally when I've had a session with yourself, like there has been affirmations, and even my son, when my son came to see you, that was a beautiful experience as well. It's so interesting because the more you sort of go into it, the more you really see that everything is about words, isn't it? And how it sort of creates our reality or our life, or that's incredible. So in saying that, I've had an experience recently where we're in an age where there's a lot of information, right? There's a lot. And on my path particularly, it's been very, very important or needed to be really, really careful about the information that I listen to and retain. And so would you just speak a bit about that? Do you feel like that has an effect?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's probably where the power of empowerment and embodiment comes in, because there is so many words and there is so much information, and so many videos and things to see, hear, and watch, that to be really and able to discern in your body what feels right and doesn't feel right, as like this innate backup, so that you're not just thinking that you should be doing things or thinking you should do what someone's told you to do, but really feeling in your heart, probably, and your solar plexus chakra, does this feel right for me, or do I feel a bit icky when I listen to these words? What's these words that they're saying, and what's coming across, and does it feel okay to me? And then trusting yourself that if it doesn't feel okay at the moment, that's okay, and you can just let it go, and just let it be free. And it might come back around full circle, which sometimes it does, or just by closing that off, something else gets presented to you that is exactly that you're meant to hear, and that actually gels better with your body.
Yeah, so interesting. So if you view it like that, it's kind of like, I don't know, I just got sort of an image of being in this ocean, and you see these like fish swimming past, and it's like, well, that fish looks big and scary, and I don't like the look of that fish. And then there's one that's like nice and beautiful, and you're like, oh, that feels really nice. You know what I mean? So it's like all these fish, it's a random image, but all these
It's very random.
Yeah, as all this information, because we're in this big ocean of just consciousness, I suppose, if you want to go that far. But we're in an age of free speech and so many platforms where we can connect to so many different beliefs and all of the things, and actually saying that about beliefs. So what do you feel that the power of words has to do with beliefs?
Well, the beliefs on its own is a whole, like a whole podcast, really.
That's right. Yeah.
Is it your belief? Is it a learned belief? Is it someone else's belief? That's like a whole nother journey. So, but bringing forward, the words that you use internally, and maybe speaking your beliefs, I suppose that's where, like, doing these processes and learning what do I really believe? What is my truth?
Mm-hmm.
And making sure that your truth is a positive truth, not a negative self-talk, inner critic truth. Because we use the inner critic a lot in kinesiology in the first part, which is called the meta model, to really find out, like, what's that internal dialogue saying to you?
Mm-hmm.
And are you believing that internal dialogue? And is it negative? Yeah. And can you turn it around and actually learn from that into what you actually need the most in your life? What's your inner guidance asking you for, to heal, to move forward, to be more confident, more empowered? So we all have an inner critic that comes up. It's 100% of the time with my clients. I even still have an inner critic, but I know how to catch it now and go, where's that coming from? Where did I first hear that? What do I feel like when my mind or ego is saying that to me? And what can I learn from it? How can I turn it around and use it to my benefit?
Yeah. Absolutely. And I guess that's one thing that's come into my journey as well, that I don't think I was aware of how I was actually speaking to myself for a good nearly all my life. And it wasn't very nice, but I couldn't even hear it like that. Like, there's a big transition between, thinking something and then being aware that you're thinking it.
Definitely.
That's a huge, and I suppose, is there a practice in kinesiology or like some sort of or does it come back into feeling, or?
Well, I say for most of it is the 99% of the journey is the awareness. Mm-hmm. So when you can actually be aware of your inner critic, because a lot of people don't until they come and see me, and then we learn to hone in on it and go, well, that's it there. That's that voice that's bringing you down or putting you down or blocking you. And then when you can identify it and then stop yourself in the process when it comes up, that is the turning point of most of the journey. Yeah, because we all have it. It's all there, but it's what you do with it or don't do with it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And when for me, it's like when I allow myself to believe that it's me, but it's not me, is it? It's like we're these beautiful, perfect beings that just have a lot of stuff that isn't us. That's how I kind of see it, yeah. And so
I feel a lot of it is the ego, which is it's not always a bad thing. It's actually a safety mechanism to keep us safe from something we've learnt, like a trauma may have come up as a child or in an adult, and the ego gets in the way to protect your nervous system so that you never go back to that again. And so the ego is there for good, but it tends to get out of control.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that just resonates with me, that it's the ego. So then I can see, okay, this is a story that's going on, that's being played out. It's not me, it's not my truth, and it's not my soul. So I can observe it, like push it away and observe what's going on and just keep it distance from my energy body. Yeah.
And that's very interesting that you use that word story, because what's a story made up of? Words. It's just like, what are those words saying? And what's the meaning behind those words? And how does a story make you feel? How do those words make you feel? What is your story made? What words is your story made up of? You know? And this is so powerful. And I guess, you know, as some of you may know, I'm like an avid storyteller and like writer, because I feel these words within me and I feel like they need to be expressed. And I also feel like there's a lot of healing in writing, and it's just a very, you know, some people do it through art and some people do it even through singing or dance or, you know, however your outlet is. They're all beautiful. It's just that expression of, for me, it comes out in words, and it can be very transformational.
Oh, I agree. And you do a beautiful job with your words on your posts. I love reading them. There's quite a few processes that the body will bring up in a kinesiology session that to do with words that are healing. And with kinesiology, with the muscle testing, it's your body that's telling us what it wants and what resonates with it. So it's never throwing you, like if you're not a singer, it's not going to throw you over and say, go and sing your heart out. It doesn't. Your body knows innately what it needs to heal. So some of the processes that come up are freeform writing, which is just putting your words on paper.
Yeah.
Don't instead of bottling them up or just mixing them up in your monkey mind, just freeform write it out on the piece of paper. And then when you've finished and you've sort of purged all of whatever happened that day out, you simply rip it up and you throw it away and you never read it again. Just a simple process like that with words can be hugely transformational for some people.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like someone I've expressed and I read it back and I go, it doesn't even feel like me. It's just like, where did that even come from? And it's almost as if, you know, often it's a message that's coming through that I need to read. But before, I found some of my poetry from like when I was a teenager, and it was very dark. And it was like very, what words were in my head then, and what words ruled my life, what story ruled my life at that stage. And so, it's so incredible, isn't it? There's really a lot involved within it. And so, okay, so you've got a bit of a practice that we can I guess the biggest thing with awareness, so before we get to awareness, this is why I feel it's important to have talks like this, to show people or give them sort of a tool or something that they can see, that maybe if it is coming into their awareness, that they may be like, oh, I'm talking about that, on a negative, or I'm noticing how that makes me feel. Then we can maybe provide some sort of assistance to check how exactly it's affecting us.
Oh, yes. Yeah, there's a beautiful pranic exercise that I use to help teach people two things. Like one, what's their chi, prana, energy? What is it, and how do I feel it? Because it's a learned process as well. Everyone can do it. And then two, how I can use that as a daily gauge in my auric field or chakras about how I'm feeling and what's happening to me. So what it is probably everyone on here is aware of what a chakra center is, and how it's an energy field, and then how in your auric field, your energy field can go out to about 3 to 7 meters out of us, depending on how we are going throughout the day or how we're feeling at the moment, and then also comes right back into very, very little energy running through those centers. So what I encourage you to do is just warm your hands up if you want to follow along with the process, or you can just watch either way. And then just activate your heart chakra in the middle of your hand. So just rub it around with your thumb. Can you see that? No, we're doing both. We're doing both. No. So you just do both. So we're just warming up that area, because that's how we're going to feel energy. So some people feel it. So if you just put your hands together, so you can either do this resting in your lap or up high. I'm going to do it up high in the throat chakra, because we're talking about words, and that's where they always get stuck. So if you just try and feel between your hands whether you can feel a warmth of energy going from between your palms, or it might be pins and needles going through. See if you can feel an energy exchange. Another way to feel it is if you slowly pull your hands in and out, you might feel a resistance band, like there's a rubber band, and that's where you'll feel the energy exchange happening. You got it?
Yeah.
Good. So this can take a few practices, but everyone can do it. So have faith that you will be able to do it. And so now we're going to just focus on our throat chakra. So this is usually dictated by blue or the lapis lazuli crystal. We're just going to feel into it with our hands. Close your eyes if it helps you to block out some senses, and just feel where you feel the resistance around your throat chakra. So it's going to be 2 inches in front of your throat and your skin. And if you can't feel any really tiny in, just keep going out, just slowly, until you can feel a bit of resistance.
It's funny, I can feel energy building in my throat.
Because you're now focusing on it.
Yeah. Which is amazing.
But just see, mine's about here, I can feel, which is not surprising for me because public speaking is my number one fear. So this is huge. Out here. Yes. So I've got my Valor oil on, which is also blue, which to help me feel a bit more confident. But so it's about here.
I feel like it's about there.
Okay, good. And now this is where we'll show you the power of words.
My heart says.
So now I want you to put your hands together in your lap. And this is a bit rough, but say something negative about yourself, about, oh, I'm not a very good public speaker. I always muddle up my words. I can't think. I can never get my words out. I can never find the words. Whatever resonates with you.
It's hard, isn't it, to speak nasty?
Yes, but we're gonna reverse it at the end, so we won't hold on to the energy. Don't worry. And now
Okay.
come back up to your throat chakra and measure again and see if it's changed for you.
It doesn't even feel like it's there.
Yeah, I'm getting the same. I've completely, it's about there. So I've halved the amount of energy in my throat chakra just by those words alone. That was 4 sentences of negative self-talk, of a negative story.
Right. Okay, yeah, I don't want to leave my throat like that.
No. Okay, so we'll try it again because we can always use more positive energy. So speak to your hands and to your throat and say some really lovely things like, my throat chakra is getting stronger. I'm becoming more confident to speak my truth. My words are my power. And then come back up again to your throat. And at the same time, when you're doing this, you can send a big love energy ball right up to your throat chakra as well. Choose a color, do it with a color. I love color therapy and I use it a lot. So send a big blue chi energy ball up to your throat chakra. Yeah, look at that. As soon as I bring color in, look how big mine is.
Mine's like,
color is so powerful. Oh, I love it. So look at that, 2-minute little processes and my energy field around my throat chakra has doubled. That's the power of words. Very good.
so amazing, isn't it? It's just like something that we just often aren't aware of. And, you know, there was something else I wanted to bring up, hopefully. Just with this, what's come into my awareness lately is the words that we're using, especially within the illness sort of, even illness, but within that sort of field, it's very much about fighting and battling. I'm going to fight this thing. I'm going to win. I'm going to battle this thing. And, you know, if we think about what the, I guess, energy behind those words actually make us feel, like when you think about a fight, what do you think? You know, you think about a battle, what do you feel?
Exactly.
And it's so incredible to, you know, having come through this sort of, I guess, experience of just going, wow, hang on, I really need to change everything, every word that I use, nearly every sentence that I speak, inside and outside, because, you know, how our words are so powerful, especially when we speak them as well, because it's like your intention, you're putting it out as reality, that's creating your world around you, you know. And not only that, but like a fight means you're fighting against something that's inside you. So what are you doing? You're pushing yourself away, you're separating yourself from yourself, you know. And it's just this whole other thing that's just recently been like brought forward to me, like, wow, you know, that's pretty much the tagline for cancer, isn't it? Like the battle and the fight.
Definitely.
Which is really, really incredible. So that's really, really powerful, Andrea. So I've done this once before. I think we did it with the solar plexus, was it?
Yeah.
And it was just something that I said, people need to, you know, how much this really affects us, and how also the opposite, you know, how these beautiful words of encouragement can really, I guess, bring us into a more open and energetic state.
And raises your frequency.
Yes.
Doesn't it? The fear, the fight, the battle, they're all very low frequency words. Yeah. Which brings your vibration down. So if we use the positive, big encouragement words, because you don't have to be like, I am amazing and I am super confident. just doing that I am working towards, I am becoming, is it takes that pressure off of having to achieve or be at a level of a label of something. You're just becoming. It's a journey, and you're on the journey. You're not going backwards.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Yeah, because it's you know, sometimes we look at our life, if something's happened and we go, you know, it was so much better then, or why can't I be like I was? And it's, you know, the realization that we are always moving forward. We will never be worse than we were. We are moving forward all the time. And it's, you know, always progressive, even if it might not feel like it at the time. It's always in forward motion. Yeah. So just if people are finding it, you know, do you have anything or affirmation that's come to you, or anything that possibly, or like a practice that someone might do if they feel like they might need a bit more encouragement, or, you know, like something they could use, or an affirmation, or
there's so many.
Yeah.
I could probably type a few lines, and at the end, once you post this, I'll just check in and muscle test, and then see which affirmations come through for this collective and this group. And then I'll put them underneath, and then you guys can have them forever then, and you can just keep using them.
Yeah. Okay, so I just want to double check if anyone hasn't been to a kinesiologist before, because I'm still like getting to know the whole, it's like there's so many things within it, isn't there? Like so many tools in the tool bag.
Yes, I like to explain it like it's an umbrella modality. So kinesiology is the umbrella, and then with each spike off the umbrella is a little tool or another modality in it to help. So the kinesiology part's really just the muscle testing and the communication between body and soul.
Yeah.
And facilitator, and then all the other things that go with it.
Yeah, because I've had a kinesiologist session with somebody else who was like more chiropractic side.
Yes. That's the more American style. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd been to you, and then I went to him and I was like, oh, this is different. But, yeah, so, yeah, I guess specifically from what I know, you work a lot with, obviously, you know, self-empowerment and the self-talk, also with the stress and the nervous system.
Yeah, that's a biggie.
That's like one of your biggest.
Yeah. Focus. Anxiety, stress, nervous system overload, adrenal overload, and emotional trauma. They're probably the big ones.
Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Amanda's just asked, where are you? She's just in Queensland, but you do online?
Yeah, Gold Coast, Queensland, but I do Zoom sessions. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, well, we'll take some questions now if anyone's got any questions. But just before, because we'll obviously finish the live, because you know, the people in the recording can't ask questions. Well, they can post them to the group. Feel free to always ask your questions in the group. Andrew will be tagged into this posting. One thing I will let you know, speaking of the power of words, kind of ties in, we've actually got an event coming up for the new moon. And, you know, I'm someone who lives by the power of intention. And we decided, how can we make this even more extreme? So we're going to join it with our modalities and the new moon and our intention power of words all together for a new moon amplified intention container. And so that'll be using energy grids, my skills, and we're also going to clear the blockages which could be stopping you from moving forward into your intentional, you know, place that you want to be, which is the biggest thing. I think when we set these intentions, we don't know that there's all of these things blocking us from happening. We're like, why is this happening? You know, why isn't what I want happening? And it's like all these invisible layers of things that are holding us back. So we're going to do a clearing of that. And then, of course, like Andrea mentioned, the power of color. I'm going to do a color immersion for the activation as well. So that's going to be really, really awesome. I'll post that into the group as well. That's coming up on the 25th of October in the evening. In the morning, we have our next live. So whether you're watching this before or after, our next live is about sacred rage. And we have Lauren Waite coming on, and she's going to talk a bit about our relationship with anger. So that's going to be awesome. All right, for everyone doing the recording, thank you so much, Andrea, for coming on today and sharing that beautiful little process with us and speaking a bit about the power of words so that we can all be more aware of how and what we are saying to ourselves.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.